On this episode of DC On Screen, we are talking about Doom Patrol Season 1 with an emphasis on the season finale, right after this.
Make your business stand out in the best way with signage from Image 360. Image 360 combines the latest production technology, materials, and years of expertise to deliver you the best visual resources for your brand. From storefront signs to vehicle graphics and more. Learn more and get a quote today at image360signs.com. That's image, the number 360, signs.com. Image 360, your expert source for comprehensive custom signage and graphics solutions.
You think of Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe, but a multiverse, where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next. Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This, my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
We are coming to you from the white space, the space in between the comic book panels.
We're more like the ad on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not the Flex Metallo one.
No, not a useful one.
Right.
Just a little less.
We're like the little ad that says, used shoes for sale.
Yeah.
So, Doom Patrol is like my favorite DC show at the moment.
Yeah, I unabashedly love this season.
Unabashedly.
Yeah.
It's a good word for it.
It's we don't like to do numbers ratings anymore, but I give it an awesome out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely. It is just so good.
It was.
It's so weird.
Yeah, and delightfully weird. Like the comedy worked. The Jeremy Carver, the guy that worked on this, the showrunner said that he wanted to focus on character pieces because there were a little thing he did in Entertainment Weekly, and I think he nailed that. He fucking nailed that. It was a very character driven piece, and all of the fourth wall stuff with nobody getting to sum it up for us here and there, and pitch the pitch the little criticisms at themselves and stuff like that. All fantastic. It was well framed, beautifully told.
Oh, I love freaking Mr. Nobody hanging out in the white space with his, tablet, watching the episode. And, oh gosh, so good. It's
Everything,
just so good.
Every single moment in the white space, I would pause it after a lot of those scenes and just literally say to myself alone in a room, "Oh my God, that's so fucking good."
Yeah.
Had to stop and tell myself that. I was so impressed.
I have to know, how did you feel about they've released the butts?
It's not a problem.
You very often have a problem with poop humor. And I was wondering how that would sit with you in this show, since not only do we have messages coming in the form of farts coming out of a donkey's asshole.
That was the least I was enamored with it. The scene from the original Doom Patrol with the butt what's the word, butt balloon and the Perry Como thought was delightfully odd.
Yeah.
And then release the butts. I think by that time I was just laughing with the whole thing. Like, seriously, you're gonna? And then I saw him and went, "Oh God, all right, yeah, you committed to that damn bit, didn't you?" Woof.
And like, they're literal asses running around eating people.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I mean, I was over the moon myself. I was just
so happy with it. I was pretty happy with that too. That didn't take away from me, and it. I'm not saying it normally would have. I don't necessarily detest poop humor just in general. It's just I think it's normally done too easily. This was not that at all. Just at all.
I'm not completely caught up anymore, but a few days ago or a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, I was catching up on DC TV Squadcast, and Brent and Ray were talking about how it looked like every week Doom Patrol and Legends of Tomorrow were just trying to out-weird each other.
Yeah.
Because it was like...
Yeah, if you're watching them back to back, it's a bit, yeah.
It was like Legends is like, we have a possessed nipple. And then Doom Patrol's like, yeah, well, we've got an army of butts running around eating people.
Legends is like, we brought on several gay characters and a bisexual character, and they get center focus, and somewhere over there they're like, all right, yeah, I see what you're saying. We're going to have a sentient teleporting genderqueer street
With a cabaret.
with a cabaret. Because we are the premium cable version of Legends.
And that's a good way to put it. Like, we'll get the Legends. We'll
And
have a whole
that's
episode
the kind of
about
race that I
Legends,
can
but-
get behind, dude. That I will be sitting there on the stands with a pack of beer, waiting and cheering on for that kind of race.
And both shows have a Constantine.
Yes, it's amazing.
Legends has Constantine. Doom Patrol has Willoughby Kipling, played by the wonderful Mark Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I told you this or if we even talked about it. Like you were talking earlier, we haven't really had a chance to really get into this because we've been in different places in the show. But Willoughby Kipling was created by Grant Morrison, intended to be John Constantine, but DC and they wouldn't let him have the Vertigo-bound John Constantine at the time in a DC book. So he created Willoughby Kipling and based him off of Richard E. Grant, the character, the Richard E. Grant character specifically from With Nail and I, which if you haven't seen With Nail and I, holy shit, go see that. Or I think it's like on Daily Motion or some shit. Like I was desperately looking for it a few days ago. And
Found it one of those
Yeah.
park all kind of spots.
yeah.
Quasi trademark breaking websites.
Oh, absolutely. But you can't find it streaming anywhere. You can't find it for sale. It's just, oh my Lord. But yeah, Richard E. Grant and Paul McGann. So I'll say a Doctor Who and a half, a Doctor and a half.
Yeah.
Because Richard E. Grant was the animated Ninth Doctor before they decanonized that animated series and did Christopher Eccleston.
Ah, okay.
Of course, Richard E. Grant went on to play the the Great Intelligence in Matt Smith's final bits.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's what
All that to
Willoughby
say-
Kipling was from.
The Willoughby Kipling has a steep and wonderful history and was also awesome on this show.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great little arc. I enjoyed that very much. Oh,
See,
and
I loved him, but I hated the arc.
that arc.
The
really?
cult of the Unwritten. I didn't hate it, but the Cult of the Unwritten. The Unwritten book, the Decreator, the Recreator, Nirnheim, all of that was just boring. The only thing I really loved out of that was, I loved three things specifically. I loved Willoughby Kipling.
Uh-huh.
I loved Baphomet, the Singing Horsehead.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I loved that they had to fight the Dry Bachelors, the army made of dead skin and unsent letters. That was fantastic. That felt like Douglas Adams right out the ass. Just,
Yeah.
I loved all of those things. And there was enough great character moments throughout that little, like, what was it, a 2-episode arc
Yeah.
that I was still thoroughly
that
entertained.
At this point, that's been a couple months. I'm not quite sure what
Yeah.
happened where. I just kind of remember the whole arcs.
I was still thoroughly entertained.
But it
I
did.
was still very happy.
I did kind of enjoy that little bit on top of everything, and it was a nice little excursion, I guess, through the middle of the season. Just a little trip on a sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you want to go next? Oh, we'd already talked about when we did the review for the pilot, which we had back several weeks ago. That this is one of the best looking and best sounding opening themes we've seen to date.
Yeah, I watch it every time.
Yeah, I really do. And the last time I watched it on the last episode, I kind of watched it forlornly. I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna have an excuse to go back and just stare at this every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can, but
You can. Why not?
yeah. And something you quickly learn because of a character like Mr. Nobody, when it says skip recap, don't you push that fucking button.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
You don't know.
That rhyming recap situation was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And they all came together. Which was fantastic. It was the whole, oh my gosh, that was so stupid and amazing. I honestly, for the last couple of days, I've been thinking about, last couple of weeks now, I've been periodically thinking about Danny the Street's signs just going, oh.
Yeah.
Just like, oh God, it's so stupid and great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the least
I flexed the
necessary
wrong
scene
muscle.
of maybe of the series, and it was delightful. And they just moved right on. It wasn't a big deal. He just flexed the right muscle the next time, and it was fine.
Right.
But it was a hilarious little sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of still images of Jane kind of in hammerheadish mode, trying to look angry and orgasm at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
So this show is so full of great character stuff. So I don't even know what we could probably do 10 hours.
Yeah, we can do it this way. We could do arcs if you want to do arcs. We could talk bits. We can approach it several ways. I'd say arcs.
Here's what I'll say. All right, and we can branch off from here. I feel like this was the case, and I liked that it was not. I don't think it was explicitly stated, but I felt that despite the fact that the chief lied to them about his role in their creation, I feel like they all decided to help him save his daughter because of their own individual crosses that they bear. Like Cliff is a bad father and wishes he could have been there for his daughter, and Rita, the thing that haunts her is that crying baby and the mother who killed herself and her role in sending that mother to the producer. And of course, Jane was raped as a small child, and it seems like I don't know if she has, I don't think she's killed that child primary that she used to be. I think she's protected it.
No, we see it even in that episode.
Yeah.
It comes and lies down with her in, I forget what they call that space.
When she's doing the drugs, when she's doing that drug, right?
Yeah, she's clearly still got that thing on lockdown.
Yeah. Vic was mistreated as a child and ignored. Larry never got to see his kids again. I feel like, and it's also telling that once they're done with Calder, they go and start teaching kids how to use their freaking powers. Like, they've all got serious issues with children in their own childhoods.
Mm-hmm. There's some form of either arrested development or just childhood being stolen away abruptly.
Yeah, and I love that. I feel like that was the real reason they all decided to help Niles with his own daughter.
Yeah.
Save his daughter.
As Cliff pointed out, he'd be a fucking asshole not to jump in the fucking painting. So of course I'm going to jump in the fucking painting. That was more fuckings than I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even get that many out reasonably. Mm-hmm. So I was just stuttering over myself. That was gorgeous.
So yeah, I love because they didn't feel the need to color it out for us, but this entire season has been a build up for them to explain. It's just, they've been quietly explaining the entire series why they would help an asshole like Niles Calder out at the very end.
There's that. So I think that like why they would forgive him after what happened to him is, you went to crazy unforgivable lengths, but you did it for your daughter, and we all have some link that gets us back to that thought. That gives you a moment where you're like, yeah, I know, but he did it for his daughter, and on some level you got to understand you'll go a little bit crazy for that. Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, just going from episode 1 and through the first few episodes especially, where the beat they kept hitting over and over again is we are not heroes. They get to a point finally where in this episode they do something as a team completely selflessly. They've gotten from selfish to selfless, and they've gone from not a team to a galvanized set of members that care about each other.
Yeah.
It was it all came together over the 12. And I did love, for us, one of the problems in the pilot was like, how are these people fucking alive this long?
I think it's 15.
Is what?
I think it's 15 episodes.
Oh, yeah, since the pilot, though. Like, I think it was in the pilot, though, where we were like, how are they all still alive? So magically, immortality was one of the side powers of the stuff they got also, and that was something that we were kind of concerned about. Like, well, explain that a little bit,
right? So
instead,
it seems like they've all got the immortality, and he's trying to get it from them.
Well, he was doing different versions. They were basically experiments trying to master that ability. Mm-hmm. It seemed, and it's what I got from it at least. And
yeah,
so he did this to all of them, so he could stick around long enough to protect his daughter, because apparently she is super special.
Yeah,
like she's a
Do
world.
you know anything about her?
Yeah, she's a world changer.
Mm-hmm. Which means that if we do season 2, we're getting Candlemaker.
Probably, most likely, which was going to be super brutal.
It's going to be super brutal, and also they might as well just do Legion at that point. Like,
yeah,
because you're basically like Dorothy is basically Legion.
They'll be done. Yeah, the guy who plays Legion will be done with that show by then. Just send him right over.
It's like just Dorothy and Candlemaker are basically Legion and the Shadow King.
Kind of, yeah.
Like, sincerely.
Yeah, and the crazy part is like Dorothy, if anyone doesn't know her powers, briefly, she can basically make her imaginary friends real and then change the properties of those friends or just change properties of shit she feels like changing. She's a reality bender on the highest level.
Yep.
And she's kind of normally kept really in private until she meets this team of misfits because she's got a disorder that makes her face look like that of a monkey. So,
So they've used that and
an
now
ape,
said,
I should say.
well, she's going to be the daughter of Niles and this cave woman that he met.
Which is not, as far as I can tell, canon, but that seems like a great way that they weave that in. And they made that episode, by the way, pretty good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
they
his
did.
little one-off by himself off in the woods, learning all his little spinoff was pretty good. But
Yes, I agree.
the Dorothy stuff, going back, Candlemaker's like this little version that pops up in her head that he wants to get out. He's a psychic spirit. He wants out. That's kind of what she can do is turn like a psychic spiritual entity into a real thing, and he uses her to try to get out. Bottom line is it's going to get real violent real quick, which will fit on this series and Titans and DC Universe in general. They've got room to play with all that, so it should
And
be
he gives
really
her
exciting.
he gives her wishes, and like on his third wish, he gets free. And oh my god, just
It gets rough.
yeah.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be so good.
If they do Candlemaker, I assume they're going to do Candlemaker
It's just-
because where the hell else do you go after Mr. Nobody and freaking Admiral Whiskers
Yeah.
and Ezekiel?
I mean, all right, going into Admiral Whiskers too. Fucking great.
Yeah.
That was a great little sidebar with like the little running story throughout the whole thing. Leads to a lot of development in Cliff's story. Great character moments. You get to see him at the end. Awesome. And this is the only show where you could have told me that the finale wasn't going to involve a giant rat and a giant cockroach making out. And I would have thought, okay, yeah, sure, I could see that. And then, double down and be like, oh yeah, and by the way, they're all the whole team tries to get eaten by the cockroach. And while they're making out, Cliff is climbing across their tongues to safety. And I've been like, yeah, this is not, you haven't bucked me yet. I'm still on this bull, man. Start it up.
Well, they had to be inside the cockroach because only the cockroach could withstand the radiation, Jason.
I understand
It
completely.
makes perfect sense.
It's a great plan.
Dude,
and
I
if you
love
get-
Curtis. I love
Yeah.
Curtis Armstrong so much.
If you this is a problem people had. It's like, why does Mr. Nobody suddenly not realize blah blah blah? And my answer is because he was drunk.
Yeah.
Because a drunk Mr. Nobody forgot a couple things. He's that powerful, and he kind of just forgot, like, oh shit, this is gonna blow up literally. And he's still fine. He's still somewhere. He'll be all right. We'll see him again.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, I mean, he's in the white space. He's just in the painting now.
Yeah. He'll find his way out. As he put it, he is so powerful he can control this whole streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
That was fucking
And
awesome.
I'm looking forward to him controlling it as the Joker in the upcoming Harley Quinn animated series.
Oh god, yeah.
He
But
did such a fantastic job.
Yeah, we've always wanted to see it. Me and you've been joking around for probably the better part of a decade about how we'd love to see an Alan Tudyk Joker, and this is as close as I need. I've got everything I need.
I have never joked about that. I've been.
That was a very serious matter. I'm sorry.
It is. I've been screaming to whatever gods may hear.
Yeah,
Um,
spaghetti monster. I don't care anybody.
right. So yeah.
Short of a costume change, we pretty much saw it. And don't get me wrong, if they told me tomorrow he's been cast as live action, I would, clap my hands and go to Party City and buy some stuff. But this is close enough for me. I got to see pretty much what I wanted.
Yeah.
It was glorious.
So I loved everything Alan Tudyk did. I loved Diane Guerrero in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
She was just fantastic. And I can't wait to see more of Crazy Jane and all of the other characters that she plays.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get to see. I can't remember where she keeps her characters. Where she keeps
in the
other-
underground.
Is it the underground?
That's what it's called. Yeah.
Okay. I would like to see more of the underground.
Yeah, me too. I want to see more of that. I want to see Cliff actually meet up with his freaking daughter, dude.
Yeah. I didn't feel cheated of that in this season. I felt like they explained why he doesn't want to see her right now. But I would like him to kind of come around and kind of grow out of this moment. Like him learning about her, that was a lot. That was a lot of fun to watch. Like him kind of realizing that she's still out there and the anger and all that, and then him getting to see her, it was real sweet. And then even the decision that he's going to kind of leave her the hint that he's still there, but doesn't want to burden her with all the shit's going on with him right now. I get all that.
Yeah.
But it all leaves it hanging a little bit. We're like, no, he can grow as a person a little bit later, and I think it'll be a great scene.
Absolutely.
Also,
So, yeah.
he battled an alligator. Just want to point that out.
He did.
Yeah.
But yeah, every person on this show I've been really happy with. I loved Rita. I loved her character arc. I loved Larry. I really loved Larry, dude.
Oh, he
he
great.
was fantastic. Matt Bomber did a great job. I will say the weak link in the cast for me is Jovian Wade as Cyborg. He was fine. I never connected with the character though, and I never connected with his performance. Like even when he's like having conversations with Phil Morris as his dad, I liked Phil Morris. I was like, dude, you were killing it, Phil Morris. I'm not sure this kid is up to snuff though.
Yeah, I connected. And weirdly enough, the other way around, I liked his version a little bit more. And I've also seen this sentiment around, and this is the most I've ever liked Cyborg, because it's generally not a character that I get into very much.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most I've really liked him, and I did really like him here. For me, it wasn't a detractor. He had his own great arc. I mean, that scene in the bunker there where he thinks he's killed his dad. Oh, that was rough, man.
It was.
He killed it
was
there.
pretty rough.
If he got it right anywhere, he killed it there.
I will agree with you there.
But and oh god, just even Mr. Nobody rubbing that in his face. It was brutal. It was the kind of scene where I was like, I didn't think this was going to be. I never thought this would be achievable. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would see a scene like that.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself there, and it's organic, and it makes sense, and you're just fucking mad that you have to wait a week for next Friday.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not saying he was terrible or anything. He was fine. Like, he was serviceable for me, but
Yeah, that's fine. There's
I just
normally
never
an
really-
ensemble like that. There's going to be usually a character you don't really get too invested
yeah.
in.
And that's not to say, like, because I see a lot of people online throwing up pictures of him next to Ray Fisher from Justice League.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, this looks so much worse than Justice League. I don't know. I mean, one looks fake and the other one looks fake. I don't understand.
Yeah, they're both costumes.
Yeah, one
looks
looks like
like one
man in
was-
suit, one looks like CGI.
One
and
invested in practical, one invested in computer. That was it.
I'll be honest, like, neither one has convinced me that I should care about Cyborg more as a character. Sadly, my favorite version of Cyborg is like Teen Titans Go.
It is pretty fun there. It is. I'm enjoying him a lot right now in like Justice League Odyssey and the books that are going on at the
Okay.
moment.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I picked that one up specifically because it was a runoff of the new Justice series,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like him, Azrael, and what's her name, Starfire,
Okay.
go off to this little ghost sector, and stuff ensues. I don't want to ruin anything. That's just the pitch. And then accidentally, Jessica Cruz comes along with them. I thought, yeah, let's see what those four are going to be up to for a minute. That sounds interesting, and I've really enjoyed it.
All right.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, so season 2 comes around. Do you want Cyborg back, or do you want them to play with somebody else?
No, I want him back with upgrades.
Back with upgrades.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, a fundamental part of the character of Cyborg is that he's always getting better at being a cyborg. Like I think he's always there. You've got to be always tinkering with that kind of equipment and coming up with a better way to do stuff and new abilities and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see that. I would like to say I'd like to see the suit used more in like a, get a middle of the battle kind of sense.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind one scene where you get to really show off the suit. That'd be cool. I mean, I wouldn't miss it if it wasn't there, but you've got that card. You can play it. It'd be kind of fun to watch. Really show the upgrades off for a scene. You don't have to have it all the time. This show's more about character development. Doesn't have to be about that, about what did nobody
think
call it, the boring punch him out battle or something like that.
I think I'd kind of like to see the team dynamic if they come back and Vic has moved on and he is a part of the Justice League and he's kind of being an asshole about it. And they just all kind of think like, you think you're better than us now.
Yeah,
Which they played with a little bit at the beginning.
they did. I mean, he was an established thing before. They were literally nothing as far as on the superhero landscape. They were recluses.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that either. That could be a lot of fun. I don't want him out by any stretch. It would be a satisfying conclusion to me if he was a Justice League member after this. I could work with that, but I wouldn't mind him sticking around at all either. I think there's a lot to play with still.
Yeah, I could see it. I could definitely deal with it. I'll tell you this, what I'd really like to see is the way the show is, I really want to see like them come back next year and have Gar there, and I want to see that other guy playing the chief, and eventually they address that he's a different guy now. And explain that, like, I don't know, whatever they come up with.
No, they went on
like,
some crazy mission and found a reality bender and blah, blah, blah. And now this is what the chief looks like. We've all learned to deal with it.
Yeah, something, because they did reference the Titans pilot
Mm-hmm.
in their first episode. I think it was their first episode. So I would I would love to see them sync up with the Titans canon, and then hang a lantern on it and make fun of that.
Yeah.
I so wholeheartedly hope that Alan Tudyk is back next
That one's
time.
huge. That one's huge for me. It just knocked it out of the park. I want to see more of it. I mean, the conversation he has with himself on the toilet in the white space about like meandering blah 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 ends in a whimper. What a boring villain or something like that. He's so right. And then you look at the page. I think it just said blah 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 or something like that. It's just one word over and over again.
Uh-huh.
And it's just, my favorite part of this is it's him drinking just a bottle of Blue Curacao.
Mm-hmm.
Such a weird drink to be sitting there fucking like alone on a Friday night, essentially playing it up with, man. I get it's tasty and it's very pretty blue, but it was such a weird and wonderful choice for that to be the drink, and worked because it was also like the white space and his little gray suit, and the blue looked fantastic being splattered around everywhere and on his lips and everything. But that conversation when he's trying to explain, or when he's talking to Ezekiel about glory. A path to God's glory. Yes, a path to glory. I said God's glory. Oh, whatever. That kind of thing. That was so good. Like I rewinded that. Whatever. I went back and watched that scene.
I don't think
3
either
times.
word is applicable these days, but yeah.
I clicked back 3 times to watch that scene.
Dude,
So good.
laughed so hard when he starts like narrating Ezekiel and convincing Ezekiel that Ezekiel thinks he is God, and he's like, of course. Dude, I love Curtis Armstrong so much, and to have Curtis Armstrong playing off of Alan Tudyk,
Yeah.
like,
It was great. They did
freaking booger and wash, man.
It was great. It was a great scene. There were people that didn't like the whole stomping around. Oh my God, it just ended with giant rat. I think it fit perfectly. I loved it.
Oh, it did. It was fantastic.
Drunk Mr. Nobody really was one of my highlights of this season.
Yeah.
I mean, Cruel Mr. Nobody was a fantastic. Like, you remember, it's in the penultimate patrol, which, by the way, one of my favorite episode names ever.
Indeed.
Where he's broken him down, and he finally gets Calder to explain to the rest of the team, I'm responsible for what happened to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that shit-eating grin in the background? He's in the background, soft focus, and even in soft focus, you can see every one of his fucking teeth. He's grinning so hard. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, a little side effect of Mr. Nobody that I appreciated. So in the episode, was it next to last or last? I think next to last. He kills the team over and over again and makes Niles watch. That was next to last episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Penultimate.
I think so.
I went back and listened just because I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that's the same one. And I found the original scene. And once it starts going into the crazy montage of them dying over and over again, it's the same park, which I recognized from before. But when he destroys the original Doom Patrol, it's the same park. He literally takes Niles back to the same park where he lost his first team. And then he plays the same fucking Perry Como, whatever that melody is. Da, 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 what you do to me. All that.
Yeah.
Destroys him with the same setting. I love that. It was a good touch.
That's great.
Really hit for me.
And that robot's right out of the comics, by the way.
Oh, yeah. And it's also like when you look at his flashback to when he was Morden, that's like one of the little demo things he's got when he gets kicked out of the, what was he kicked out of the, I forget what they called his version of the League.
Oh, was it the Brotherhood of Evil?
Might have been, yes. That sounds right. Replaced by a gorilla.
Oh, I loved that.
It's a cute little line, wasn't it?
I loved that.
But and it's a cool scene with him where like, I can be somebody. No, you'll always be a nobody. All that was great. But that's the little kind of toyish looking thing he holds up and says like, no, they liked my design, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't make it. So you should stand up to him. No, I shouldn't, because they let me go, which normally means I'm getting out easy.
Yep.
But he has a great story as a villain in this whole thing. He has a fantastic story. In his version, if you go chronologically, he's always wanted to be a villain. Even found a woman who was super into that lifestyle. Fails at becoming Brotherhood of Evil level villain. Is betrayed and left behind by said woman.
Right.
She just wasn't. He was just too much of a loser for her. So he then apparently takes all of the money he can get his hands on, finds this secret post-Holocaust doctor, or post-Germany doctor. I assume he's part of the Holocaust. So this guy reeked of should have been at Nuremberg. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And goes to this guy, spends every last penny to get his powers, and then goes back and actually finds himself a team of people for whom he is the supervillain, makes himself his own supervillain. He's got a cool story as a villain.
Yeah.
Also, from the Morrison run, his original superpower was just that he could make you insane. And I really do love that instead in this show, it's not like he just grabbed your head and you went insane. They just gave him near omnipotence, and he just uses that to make you go insane. So much more fun for a television show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had a great arc too. I mean,
does.
A lot of people had a great one, but his was fantastic. Possibly my favorite though was it's a tie between Larry and Cliff.
I think Larry for me.
Think Larry got by him more?
Yeah.
That was great. And according to the interview, they intentionally set everybody in an era so they could kind of show a different problem at a different time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a reason. What's her name? Why am I missing Elastigirl's name? Rita. There's a reason Rita is stuck in like a casting couch situation. There's a reason Larry's stuck in what is it, like late 40s, early 50s, that-ish?
Yeah. I think
post-depression, pre-hippie.
Yeah, I think she was 40s. He was 50s maybe.
Yeah. Even poor Cliff ends up in the 80s as like a signature of the excess of the 80s.
Yeah. And Jane is the 70s.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know what that says about the 70s in particular, but there's nothing in the 70s that really applies to her character in particular.
Well, except for the punk rock stuff.
Yeah, there was the early punk rock. Her and Cliff got on about that. But the fact that they specifically chose everybody to kind of have a different story to tell was really cool. And all the arcs as they came together felt so... I mean, I've already used the word organic in this series, but yeah, they felt organic.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing felt pushed. Everything felt earned. And God, it was hard not to feel for any of these people as you learned about their backstory.
Yeah. So what are some things you would like to see going forward? You have anything? Like, I really want to see Mr. Nobody start the Brotherhood of Dada.
Yeah, that'd be solid. They're willing to go that crazy with it. Why not?
I mean, does anything about this season tell you that they're not looking to go that crazy with it?
Oh, exactly. And maybe you can help me out, but Dadaism was like this version of surrealism that peaked so quickly that the people that were involved in it couldn't even tell. Within a year of the movements starting from surrealism, they couldn't even tell if they were being ironic anymore.
Yeah.
It was like the hipster movement on steroids.
Yeah, and everyone had a slightly different version of it, and the movement just kind of collapsed.
It just fell apart, right?
Yeah.
So to go from a show like this that was so surreal and have Mr. Nobody's arc be kind of a postmodernist in the next chapter, oh yeah, be great.
Mm-hmm.
And they hinted at it in the last episode that who is it that tells him? Is Robot Man tells him once they're working with him a little bit, and I was like, I feel kind of bad now that I know you. There's a hint of anti-hero possibility in there somewhere. I'd love to see that explored.
Yeah.
Hell, even Beardcatcher we got to see both sides of him.
Beardcatcher was disgusting and amazing.
It was both.
I almost threw up. I was eating, and then he started eating that. Oh, that's not even in the comic.
No, they went a whole different direction on that one.
It's so gross.
And then he comes back and he's happy with Danny the Street, and it's just, and then it's too much for him. He's like, they brought me the beards of like Genghis Khan and ZZ Top
and Lincoln.
They were so delicious. So there's something in the books that happens. I had to look up what happens because I knew I'd seen Danny the Brick, and I didn't know really past that what
Danny
that
the
story is. No, it's Danny the Brick now.
Oh, it's Danny the Brick now?
Yeah. When they break out of Ezekiel, they're sitting on a brick. Literally, the Ezekiel and the rest of them are on a brick. That is Danny.
Oh, right.
That's what made it.
Oh, okay.
So it's Danny the Brick now, and apparently in the books, it gets crazy because it's part of the Rebirth series, and they went for it. But Jane carries Danny the Brick around in her pocket, and at some point uses it to beat a god to death.
Okay.
So he becomes like Danny World because it increases his powers into this kind of near omnipotent being or whatever.
Wow. Okay.
I could be into that.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. In the comics, Mr. Nobody at some point becomes Mr. Somebody.
Well, they did have the drop the line about I'll be somebody someday or something like that.
Yeah,
It's already
yeah,
had
yeah.
some foreshadowing.
Absolutely. But the way they kind of end his arc out is some like ambush bug pops up and informs him of Flashpoint, and he goes, "Wait, what? Yeah, we're done here." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And Mr. Somebody goes, "Okay, well, pack it up. We're done." And they just kind of he just like leaves with ambush bug and like
What were you
steals
trying
the
to do?
coat.
I was trying to make the craziest shit ever happen. Oh, they
He
did
likes-
that themselves. All right, we're done here.
He like steals away with ambush bug and like the comatose body of the chief.
Nice. I'll be back another
Yeah.
day when chaos needs me.
And I'd be lying if I didn't say I mourned, or if I say I didn't mourn the death of Ezekiel. Man, dude, for a reject from Supernatural. That
Yeah, literally a
wound up
character
being-
they just wouldn't let him do. And he said, well, fuck it. These guys will.
yeah, and my lord,
And
man,
Supernatural's been on for like 27 years. They're stretching for material, I assume. And they wouldn't let that go through. And Supernatural,
Right.
but again, a show based on heaven and hell principles and a series of transitions into different mythologies, but essentially a show that has a heaven and hell. And they wouldn't let him have a proselytizing cockroach.
I'll tell you this: I love the fact that this show basically went what I call all Angel season 5.
Oh, yeah.
Right out
All
of the gate.
cards. Threw him on the ground, man. No, he literally in that interview, Jeremy Carver said, we went through season 1 with, and I'm paraphrasing obviously, we went through season 1 with the smoke 'em if you got 'em approach. And he said, and there's and he kind of quoted like, there's this many years of this comics behind us to pull from. If we get a season 2, we can do the same thing again. And I was like, you go, man, get it.
Do it.
I love the approach. You nailed it. Apparently, you've got the talent. You have the courage of your convictions. Go, man, go free, fly, my little birdie.
Yeah. So yeah,
Quick side
Sure.
thing. But we only talked about Flex briefly. But I loved his place in the team. I hope I see more of him too.
I loved his place in the team. Thought his story was heartbreaking.
That was a really rough scene.
I hated when his wife died.
Yeah,
Just like this show made me cry.
several times. I mean, seriously, maybe 2 episodes I didn't choked up.
Yeah. Made me laugh with abandon.
Mm-hmm.
Like-
many times.
Just I'm always in awe over what I'm seeing. And that's hard to do when we've been, watching several superhero shows a week for this many years.
Mm-hmm.
And then to have something like Doom Patrol show up and just sweep us off our feet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got Pretty Woman. Just gone.
Yeah.
And I was so impressed with Titans that I thought, man, I feel like Doom Patrol is going to be good, but I don't know how they're going to top Titans. Titans was fantastic. And then I saw the first episode of Doom Patrol and thought, oh, I get it. That's how they're going to do it.
So in your Pretty Woman analogy, we are the hookers who have had sex with so many superhero shows that we've become jaded, but we still have a heart of gold.
Kind of more like I haven't seen that movie in 25 years, and all I remember is the cover,
Okay. And he was just
in which I
sweeping her
think
off
I
of
remember
feet.
her being literally swept off of her feet.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's what I've got on that one.
I like my version of it better.
Mhm.
But what else should you expect
I could
from
maybe-
a
I could
person
maybe
who
stretch
liked
it.
an army of butts?
Yeah, I can maybe stretch that to make some more sense, but that's all that's really going on here.
Yeah, man. I don't know what else to say about it. I really love this show.
Yeah, it was great. I just want more. That's all.
I sincerely hope we get an announcement about a season 2 sometime soon. I haven't seen anything saying that there's going to be another season.
I don't know either. I mean, I haven't seen it official either.
And
I know
I'd
the reviews
be-
were great, and I don't know what the numbers look like because it's a streaming service, so we're in the dark.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, to your point earlier about how it was saving Dorothy was a redemption arc for a lot of the team.
The team. Yeah.
Well, the episode before, Rita, as much as says he's going to split us up and then use our history against us. That's how he's going to come at us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly what nobody does. And I loved the kind of building tension and then kind of the montage of almost of them saying stuff like, I ruined this life once and I'm still a piece of garbage and fuck this and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like every one of them makes an independent decision that they do not deserve another chance. They fuck that up.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't deserve another chance, at least was admitting to themselves, even if you gave me another chance, I would still fuck this up.
Yeah, which is in a strange way redemptive anyway.
Yeah, but it was cathartic, I think, for the viewer and for the team. That it
Yeah.
really led to the point you were making earlier. I think that was a part of how we got there.
Mm-hmm.
I had that note buried somewhere, and I just saw it. Thought I wanted to bring that up before we got out.
Nice. Well, I think I'm done. I think I'm good. If we get more if we get the candle maker, you can bet your bottom dollar we'll get more Willoughby Kipling. But look here, and I
some
don't.
evisceration.
Yeah,
You were going to see
But
body parts.
I don't remember seeing this. A friend of mine messaged me and asked me if the person who got Flex Mentallo out of the comic book was Clarion the Witch Boy, and claimed that there was a boy and he was a witch and he had a cat. I don't remember seeing that. Do you remember seeing that?
I didn't catch that. It's a good catch
Okay.
if that's what happened.
Yeah. So if that happened, let us know, please.
I'll go back and look now.
Last thing I'll say about this season is a quote from Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-5. Everything was beautiful and nothing hurt.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think all I've got is more, please.
More, please. I'll agree with that too. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening, and let us know what you thought about Doom Patrol. And you can contact us over at Twitter at DCOnScreen, DCOnScreen@gmail.com. If you do want to become a Patreon subscriber, $5 a month gets you a whole bunch of extra content whenever we feel like doing it. Jason's pull list, Marvel reviews, warm-ups, all sorts of things.
There's content up every week, though.
Is there?
Yeah.
I've just been behind, dude. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, and I haven't had a chance to contribute to it, but that is about to change.
I think 10 days is the longest we made it, and then that was still a couple episodes. It averages at least once a week. But
Okay.
it'll probably be regularly once a week going forward.
Yeah, it's we're about to gear back up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm back down to one job,
Oh, yeah.
so
We're coming.
I'm feeling special sporty.
Mm-hmm. He's not sleeping at red lights anymore.
Yeah. Like, I literally went to sleep on a couch holding a plate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I went to sleep holding my dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And then I woke up and there was a different show on television and I didn't have the plate anymore. I was like, what's happening? My wife was like, oh, sweetie.
Like, I've time traveled to a worse place.
Anyway, we love you guys. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back with a Supergirl review. Until then, keep some DC on your screen. That was a whole lot of love, man.
That was a whole lot of love. That felt like the Titans review. We really fucking love the DC stuff so far. The universe stuff so far.
Yeah, yeah.
Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, could be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Oppelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, the TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a Maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.
Are you maladjusted?
It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.